Anger and dismay over new international athletics rules on testosterone limits, which could end Golden Girl Caster Semenya's winning streak. Government places the troubled Northwest Health Department under administration. This as the ANC still seeks a political solution to turmoil in that province. This is eNews at 8. I'm Sally Baudet. Good evening. Well, our top story this evening is news that our Golden Girl star athlete Caster Semenya could be forced once again to take drugs to lower her naturally occurring testosterone. This is due to new rules today from the International Association of Athletics Federations. They say research indicates females running distances of between 400 and 1500 meters have an unfair advantage if they have higher testosterone than average. Now, these races, of course, are Caster Semenya's specialities. The ANC's responded angrily, saying the new rules are unfair, unjust and even racist. Athletics South Africa says it's studying the new rules. Let's get some insight now from Geraldine Pillay. Geraldine's a former South African sprinter and she's competed in the global arena. Geraldine, thank you so much for joining us. Is this a witch hunt, or is it, just as the IAAF says, an attempt to level the playing fields?
I would definitely say that it is a witch hunt. For the past 9 years, the IAAF have been trying to get Caster Semenya off the track. And every time they have failed, and every time they come back with new evidence and with new research and with new this and with new that. And it's clear, if you look at the statement and the rule that they are trying to implement, that they are targeting Caster Semenya. It's not a category of athletes, they are targeting Caster Semenya. And that is very, very sad, because once again, Caster has been dragged through the mill. And it's sad because this is, 2 years before the next Olympic Games. It's a year before the next World Championships, and you don't want any kind of distractions.
What they are saying is new in their research is that they've absolutely proved that testosterone does enhance performance. And they're talking about women who fall into the so-called differences of sexual development category, intersex. In other words, they have sexual organs of both men and women. And they say that the reason they make the difference between male and female athletes and have separate competitions for those is because during puberty, men develop such high levels of testosterone, 10 to 30 times more, and that is what gives them the advantage, and that's what they're trying to level.
And you know what is mind-boggling is the fact that the events that they are targeting, it's the 400 up to the 1,500, which surprisingly falls into the category that Caster competes in. So many athletes in the past have tested positive for testosterone, females, and that was artificially injected, and they were running in the 100 and the 200 meters in the sprint events. So if it is really to level the playing fields, I would then say then all the events, not just targeting certain events, you understand? Because
and also perhaps men who have very high testosterone. Why only the women?
Why? Yes.
Caster's been through this before. She's been on those drugs. She didn't win anymore. Ross Tucker says her winning time will go down by 7 seconds. Is she going to take those drugs? Is she going to start losing?
The other thing also, once she starts to take the drugs, he also said that it will have a long-term negative effect on her health. And you have to look at the athlete like that. In a few years' time, she would want to retire, but not be...
Is she going to do it, do you think? Would she comply, or is she just going to fight and challenge this?
You know what, Caster has been a model student throughout this storm, throughout this ordeal. She has always complied to the rules and everything that has, they said to her, for 18 months she could not compete, which she didn't. She didn't compete at all, and she always complied to the rules of the IAAF. So if this is what they want to do, I'm sure she would comply to it, and she would show them, listen, with or without your test and whatever, I am still a hard worker. And that is what I said. Testosterone or no testosterone, you still have to put in the hard work. So I'm sure she will come back even stronger mentally and physically.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much. That was Geraldine Pillay, a former South African sprinter, giving us the news on Caster Semenya. Well, moving on to other news now, and the Cabinet has responded to the health crisis in the Northwest Province, placing the Health Department there under administration. Medical professionals in the province have been on a strike for a month now. After last week's destructive service delivery protest, several clinics and hospitals have been forced to close their doors with dire consequences for patients. Annika Larsen reports from Parliament.
Doctors in the Northwest Province are pleading for help, saying patients are dying as hospitals close and strikes continue. Cabinet has decided to invoke Section 101B of the Constitution, which means that Treasury and the National Department of Health will now step in and take over the running of hospitals and clinics and the general health facilities in the Northwest. Cabinet is also sending a task team to the province, which will be led by Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, the Finance Minister, Health Minister, and the Security Cluster to investigate the problems there on the ground.
The team is expected to submit a report in the next 2 weeks. The report back will assist in determining any further interventions that may still be required.
Annika Larsen, Parliament.
Well, data did not fall today, but at least it cannot expire. The ongoing campaign for free access to data, which some believe is a human right, took a small step forward today. The Independent Communications Authority has announced changes regarding mobile data bundles. Michael Apple has the details of a decision which should reduce your data costs at least a little.
So it wasn't the big announcement regarding the costs of data usage in South Africa that a lot of people expected. But there are still some positives that the end user, you and I, have got to smile about.
All licensees are required to provide an option to consumers to roll over unused data. This will ensure that consumers do not lose unused data as it is the current practice.
On top of this, the Independent Communications Authority says service providers will have to notify you when your data depletion reaches 50, 80 and 100%. All right. The end user must also be given the option to proceed using out-of-bundle rates or buy a new bundle. You'll also be able to transfer your unused data to another person as long as they're on the same network. ICASA says this is just the outcome of phase 1 of 3, and this time next year they may be ready to make the announcement everyone's waiting for.
The third leg to this will then be the specific market reviews, which will zoom into the cost analysis of what informs the prices that are being charged in the market.
This industry expert believes the network service providers are not showering themselves in glory.
They all say we're passionate about customers. Well, if you're so passionate, show us by giving us a better service, a cheaper service.
ICASA will next identify priority markets by the end of June before the cost analysis phase gets underway. Michael Apple, Johannesburg.
To Cape Town now, and it seems from one extreme to another for the drought-hit province. Heavy rains overnight in the Western Cape have caused flooding in parts of the province. Flooding has been reported on urban roads and in informal settlements in low-lying areas across Cape Town. It's putting an even greater strain on public transport already affected by the nationwide bus strike. Atium Tongana spent the day in a very wet mother city.
Mop-up operations currently underway at various informal settlements here in the Western Cape following last night's heavy rains. The city's Risk and Disaster Management Centre has been activated and they're currently assessing communities to look at the damages. They have sought out humanitarian relief from SASSA to look at how they can help some of the residents currently mopping up some of their homes. Urban areas have also been affected by the flash floods. The city's Risk and Disaster Management Centre has advised commuters and drivers to drive very carefully on the roads. The drainage systems across the roads have also been blocked, causing flooding on the roads. The weather is expected to clear during the course of this week. Tim Tongana, Cape Town.
Still ahead on eNews at 8.
This fight that I'm having with the Democratic Alliance is like a boxing fight. You win one round, you lose one round. But in the end, what is important is who's going to give the knockout.
Cape Town Mayor Patricia de Lille has her gloves out, quite literally. Embattled Cape Town Mayor Patricia de Lille has until Tuesday next week to convince the DA why she shouldn't resign. She lost the no confidence vote last night. De Lille says she's ready for the next round of the fight. The politician has asked the DA for examples of what she's done wrong. The Cape Town Mayor says it would be unfair if she couldn't defend herself in public. De Lille isn't saying whether she will resign from her post, but she says she wants to clear her name above all else. Gauteng police are investigating a case of intimidation after a group of people hung up an effigy of Education MEC Panyaza Lesufi. The puppet, which was hung from a tree, was draped in an ANC T-shirt with a placard that read, "You are raping Afrikaans." Lesufi has been embroiled in bitter rows with a number of Afrikaans medium schools over their refusal to admit English-speaking pupils. The Afrikaans Language Board has strongly condemned the incident, saying it's an attempt to further polarize South Africans around language and education. Malungelo Boy has the story.
It's this image of inclusiveness Panyaza Lesufi says he is being targeted for. On Wednesday, a group of men made this cutout of Lesufi.
Are you raping the Afrikaans culture and Afrikaans language?
Surely not. Because I know the opposite. I know what it means to rape other people's cultures. I know what it means to deny other people's language. I know what it means not to be in a quality classroom. So I'll never do that, and I'm not going to do that.
Lesufi says he remains undeterred.
I just want to do the opposite of what Hendrik Verwoerd has done to this country. Nothing else. Nothing else. I don't want to take anything from anyone. I want our children to share.
One legal expert says there's no doubt that the incident has racial undertones.
One needs to check first, was this an attack on the MEC as MEC of Gauteng Education Department, or was Panyaza Lesufi attacked in his person? Because if the attack was personal on his person, and he feels that his dignity was attacked, then obviously he has reason to approach the court to actually ask these guys to make a public apology. Because some people can argue and say that this was just like a parable that they were using to say that, listen here, we are Afrikaans-speaking people. We also have rights in this country. Respect us.
The ANC in Gauteng has condemned the incident, saying perpetrators are racist, determined in undermining efforts of building a non-racial society through transformation in basic education. Malungelo Boy, Johannesburg.
Well, 3 state witnesses testified at the murder trial of Sandile Manswa today. This as the state wrapped up its case. Of course, he's been accused of murdering his ex-girlfriend Karabo Mokoena and burning her body. He has said that he's not guilty of this. In fact, he says she committed suicide. But today's testimony may be casting doubt on that story. Kailihle Kamalo reports.
2 security personnel have testified before the courts that the accused, Sandile Manswa, approached them at the control room as he was trying to gain entry in his apartment, number 413 at Sandton Sky. That's where the deceased Karabo Mokoena had locked herself in the room. The security guards say there was nothing sinister about the behavior of the deceased. Also, they did not see any tablets or pills anywhere around the bed. The accused has been so vociferous before the courts in trying to prove that Mokoena might have committed suicide, or in this day there was an attempt from her to try and take her life. Another witness was a cleaner who found Mokwena's personal documents, such as the passports and the identity document. Subsequent to that, he handed the documents to the security personnel. Also in court, Sandile Manswa kept a very low profile, and he has lost a lot of weight dramatically during the course of the trial. But also Mokwena's mother was present in court. Now the matter has been moved to Monday to allow the state to consult with witnesses. Kailihle Khumalo, Johannesburg.
Well, news just in this evening, US actor and comedian Bill Cosby has been found guilty of 3 counts of drugging and molesting a woman in 2004. Now, he could face up to 10 years in prison for each of those convictions. The conviction is seen as a decisive victory for prosecutors in one of the first celebrity sexual assault cases of the Me Too era. Let's recap your top story. Anger and dismay over new international athletics rules on testosterone limits, which could end Golden Girl Caster Semenya's winning streak. Still ahead, your weather, and then to Britain and move over royal baby. And now we're waiting for the royal wedding of Harry and Meghan. Excitement is growing in the UK. We'll find out who's going to be the best man.
Welcome to the Weather Center. The cold front that hit the Western Cape last night quickly moved into the eastern areas this Thursday, and it's now affecting the Wild Coast, where we could see a bit of rain this evening. We still have quite a bit of cloud hanging around parts of the Western Cape, where there is a chance of light showers this evening over the Western Mountains. On the other hand, it's going to be mostly fine but pretty chilly tonight for much of the interior. Now, on Friday, we start off the day with mostly clear skies for much of South Africa. It will be much warmer for the western areas, but in the afternoon, we will see some cloud creeping onto the southwest coastline. High-level cloud is forecast for much of the interior. A bit of rain around the Wild Coast in the afternoon, and late on Friday night, this cold front is going to introduce light rain into the southwest coastline and that just in interior. Now, it's going to be mostly sunny across much of the Northern Cape on Friday, with warm temperatures in most areas but mild as we go towards the western sections. We're also going to see mostly clear skies across much of the Western Cape, warm for much of the interior but mild for the coastal areas. Cape Town peaking at 21 degrees with partly cloudy skies expected in the afternoon. It's going to be mostly sunny and warm for much of the Eastern Cape. Port Elizabeth warming to a mild 22 degrees on Friday afternoon. A bit of rain is forecast for the southern areas of KwaZulu-Natal. Durban and Port Shepstone will peak at around 25 degrees. We are going to see a bit of high-level cloud over the Mpumalanga Highveld, sunny and warm for Mbombela, warming to around 29 degrees. Clear skies are forecast across the Limpopo province, where top temperatures in the lower 30s are forecast in most places. We're also going to see patches of high cloud across much of the northwest, where top temperatures in the upper 20s are expected for your Friday. High-level cloud can also be expected across the Free State, Bloemfontein and Welkom, warming to a warm 26 degrees. Gauteng is going to be warm on Friday, with patches of high-level cloud also expected across the province. Now, looking ahead to your Saturday, we are going to see a bit of rain over Cape Town as well as George and Port Elizabeth and around Durban and Pietermaritzburg. It's going to be mostly sunny over the northeastern sections. Then on Sunday, light rain is forecast for Durban, Richards Bay and Mbombela.
And finally, more details on Britain's royal wedding next month. Prince Harry has officially asked his older brother, Prince William, to be his best man. Harry's marrying American actress Meghan Markle on Saturday, the 19th of May. Now, Harry was William's best man at his own glittering wedding to Kate Middleton 7 years ago. Earlier this week, Kate and William had their 3rd child, of course. Let's recap your top stories. Anger and dismay over new international athletics rules on testosterone limits, which could limit Caster Semenya's winning streak. And news that's just come in during the bulletin, American comedian Bill Cosby found guilty on 3 counts of sexual assault. He could face up to 10 years in prison for each of those guilty counts. That's your news at 8. Take care. Enjoy the public holiday tomorrow. Good night.